Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the week again. It's Friday night on the bus, and as always, you know what that means. It's time for that Friday feeling. Myself and Liam were along again. Tradition now on a Friday night. Canada, favourite Tim, the wise man of the bus, here to give us all his knowledge, and he's got some visitors as well, I believe, in the background tonight. Liam, do you wish to tell us what's going on out in your street tonight?
Live from the West Coast. There's always something. So today's the day they do the big Native Women's March. Mm-hmm. So if you hear, shrieking and screaming and war drums, that's no me starting and Greg Taylor already. But there will be. I'll be beating my own war drums later on. But if you hear that in the background, today's the day all the Indigenous women, all the Native women march through, especially down in this part of Vancouver where a lot of them live. Okay. It's for all the missing Native women that have gone missing in that in the last 20 years now. There's lots of them in that, and it's always been a big concern here. And it's good fun, great costumes. And then a wee bit later they start pulling down statues and stuff. That's when it goes, so it can go off the rails,
I did hear though, you said the war drums were banging, so yeah, Greg Taylor, the Game Tyrrell sound and the klaxon already. But yes, that's a surprise, a little preview of what's to come, because yes, we will be speaking about Mr. Taylor at some point this evening, I'm sure, because it is Friday tradition. And what else is tradition as well is doing all that good stuff tonight, folks. Of course, you can hit that old like button again, help us out with the old algorithms again. We've got some good traction on a lot of shows recently. We're getting some good numbers, so let's keep it going. Let's keep the momentum up, guys. Hit the subscribe button. Say recently we passed 5,000, so yep, there's always room for more on the bus. This bus is never ending. So obviously hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and you'll be alerted when we are on the road. Get involved in our comments section tonight. So yes, we've got who's in the comments tonight. Let's have a wee look. We've got Graham Tyrrell, of course he's here. He's already sounded the klaxon once already, so he's here. Jim C is here. Martin Weir, Ian McIntosh, James Kennedy is in. Joe Henry, Johnny Logue, our very own Johnny Logue is in. I think last he checked in was in the Boise Bus chat. He was in South Africa. So, he might be out in South Africa still, watching us from afar. John Ford is in. Alex Forsyth, Smell the Glove. Mark Nisbet. And now, this is always how we pronounce this. I would say Anthony Menzies, but I believe in some circles of Scotland it would be Anthony Mingus. So, either way, Mingus or Menzies, whatever it is. But yes, Anthony is in the chat as well. So yeah, busy bus already. Thanks all for coming along and choosing us on your Friday evening. And what else can you do? You can head over to piesports.com still. Use that code BUS1888 and you'll get 12.5% off all your tasty pastry treats. And I've got a player teaser as well, Liam, to get it started. And this one's a big one. This one's got a very, very busy career. He's got a lot of clubs. He actually links the two clubs that are playing tomorrow. He's got Celtic and Dundee United on his CV. So tonight's mystery player hidden behind the Boise Bus logo. We'll come back to the answer at the end. Okay, deep breath. He's played for Celtic, then Dundee United, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Southend, Aberdeen, back to Celtic, Blackburn Rovers, Wigan, Fleetwood Town, and another spell at Dundee United. And yeah, then he played for Doncaster City, not Doncaster Rovers, Doncaster City, who were only established in 2022. So that tells you it's quite a recent player as well. But yeah, a very, very busy CV going on there. We'll come back to the answer at the end. But yes, on the agenda tonight, we'll be talking about the Bayern game through the week. We're having our say on that. I was also in the stadium, experienced it firsthand. What a night. It was quite the result we wanted, but still a hell of an experience. And this is why you want to be in the Champions League, to see these level of teams and pit yourself against them. So we'll be talking about that. A few transfer stories as well already. We're way out from the summer window, but I've got a few transfer stories as well that I've dug up as well. Also another story doing the rounds tonight. Will Tommy Burns become a saint? Have you heard about that one, Liam? That's a story that's doing the rounds as well tonight. And today is a very, very special day on the calendar. It's February the 14th. And if you think I'm going to say it's Valentine's Day, you're wrong. It's Administration Day, everybody. Happy Administration Day to all you who celebrate it. So at some point tonight, I'm sure we'll indulge in our chat about that. So if you want to along the way, because every so often I do like to, we'll have a show every so often where I want a wee theme in the chat. So tonight, get your memories in, because that's when the banter years started. So get your favourite banter years memories, if you can even pick one, because even up till last week, they're still going on. There's still crazy stuff coming out of Ibrox all the time that we get to laugh at. So yeah, even last week there was one. So if you can narrow it down to your favourite banters, your memory, stick it in the chat and I'll start it and we'll talk about it later on. And of course, the main event tonight, we'll be talking about Celtic's game with Dundee United tomorrow. So another busy show ahead. So yes, let's get into it, Liam. Let's get cracking on with this Friday feeling. And yeah, I'd say Bayern Munich, it was obviously through the week. It wasn't quite the result we wanted, but we certainly didn't embarrass ourselves. There was a few, definitely more than a few, who would have went into Wednesday night thinking, how many are they going to take? Man, you know, it's going to get ugly out there. The way the game played out, you know, the Bayern controlled a lot of the game without really peppering our goal. It just felt like they were quite happy to just make us chase shadows. And I personally, the way I felt it played out is after they went 2-0 up, their sort of attitude was more job done. So they did kind of back off a wee bit because they'll be rightfully confident over the two legs. They can probably see us off. So that's when we started to get a few more chances. And obviously when we did get the goal back, we did spook them quite a bit. We had them kind of on the ropes. Neuer had to pull out a great save from Alistair Johnson. There was that one just after the goal where I thought Neuer was going to miss it. Ross came in. He made this mad Superman-style dive, and I thought he was just going to miss it, but he just got a hand on it, because if he didn't, Jota was running in. I thought that was it coming, but it was a frantic finish to the game. The boys certainly, you know, got put through their paces by Bayern, but first and foremost, I don't think we didn't disgrace ourselves. It was still a decent performance, and it's left me wanting more. So next season, I want to be back at this level again, Liam.
Aye. I mean, I went into it hesitant, you know, sound the clacks that we still had to fix our left back position. It was the same. We're doing the same thing the same way, exactly again, and then the same result starts showing up. Sound the klaxon. I was like, as soon as I seen the name on the team sheet, I'm going like, okay, how long are we going to kid ourselves here? That all of a sudden he's got that much better that he can play Champions League football. And I thought it was a risk. And when I watch him playing, my God, your heart's in your mouth. He's never where he's supposed to be. He leaves the man and runs to the other man before the ball. And I don't know, it's just really frustrating to watch. And I thought, fuck, that was actually one of his better Champions League games. You know, and so I'm really at odds. My odds is to, like, so much division about the game, about, like, I know Boyce and Barrett and a lot of people have talked about the other stuff, right? But it's really weird what you're seeing right now with the Greg Taylor thing. It's like, you know, you talk about Tommy Burns being a saint. The beautification of Greg Taylor something right now is like the amount of people that are crawling over themselves to try and convince other Celtic supporters that he doesn't deserve this or that. And he doesn't deserve any personal abuse or not, but he does deserve critique. And he does deserve to be put under, you know, scrutiny and just saying, you know, is he good enough for our team? And I don't think it is. And I've not seen anybody in the chats and that convince me with a convincing argument other than he's good for Scottish football and he's good around the dressing room. If you're playing for Celtic, you don't need Greg Taylor to be hyping you up to get in front of your fans. You know, so the dressing room thing and the leadership thing, honestly, I really think it's a psyop, and I really believe they're being gaslit on this one, because I seen Gordon Strachan's article today, like, the question whether Tierney could beat the Greg Taylor jinx of all the guys he's seen off. Tierney. Strachan's a guy that couldn't manage Scotland because our players were too wee. And now Greg Taylor is now like shoulder to shoulder with Keenan Tierney. Oh my God, if that just tells you we're living in a bizarro like similarity or whatever we are right now. This might be our Mandela moment. We're going to remember Greg Taylor the way they remember Davy Cooper for some reason, that he was so much more better than what he was. And I thought the other night was just, you could just see how much his game is missing from the rest of it. And honestly, I just don't know how a lot of the fans don't see it the same way. I mean, everybody's got their opinion, but yeah, I don't know. I've not heard a convincing argument yet. Maybe somebody in the chat's got one that can just tell me what you see.
Yeah. Well, Obviously on Wednesday night, I mean, a lot of people were saying why didn't Schlupp start. I think it was just basically down to fitness. I think had we signed a left back in the window that was kind of up to speed rather than last minute, with Jeffrey Schlupp, who's barely played a game this season, then perhaps there would have been a case for him to start the game. Taylor on Wednesday night, yeah, a lot of the things that you've said, they've came home to roost on that one. Teams do target him in Europe and domestically. The goal that we lost, the first one, I mean, it's a long ball. He obviously goes to try and win it. It bounces off him and right into the path of Elise. It is a good finish. But yeah, he does kind of get caught under it. But I say the second goal, there's a whole bunch of players that are daydreaming at the second goal. If you actually watch the replay again, initially I thought, because where I was in the stadium and where I sat, I just, I'm down the other end. So I obviously saw the goal go in at the back post and was wondering who was to pick him up. And I thought coming from that side, was it Greg Taylor? But no, but being a corner, it's a set piece. You can basically pick your man essentially. But when I watched the replay back again, there's like 4 or 5 of them. Bayern just cause an overload at the back post. And for some reason, every single defender just decides to switch off. It's like Harry Kane, here's a guy that has scored 200 plus goals, whatever it is in his career. He is regardless of what you may think about him, because he's England's captain and an England striker, where you're Scottish and you can't maybe give England any credit. But this guy is a top class player. Seeing him in person the other night, I couldn't believe at times that he was dropping deep and pinging passes around. I thought that was just a thing that he did for England because Gareth Southgate was making him do stuff that he isn't really suited to. But I thought, no, with Bayern, he'll just be that guy that just stays in the box. He's just a poacher, just a number 9, like an Erling Haaland. All he's about is scoring goals. See, watched him in person, I was like, Jesus Christ, man, this guy he's elite. And yeah, that goal at the back post, every one of them goes to sleep. You've got Carter Vickers nearby, Taylor's nearby, Johnston. But a lot of them, they all just they all pick up a man. Bayern very smartly pull them all out of position, and Harry Kane is just there just to line it up and score. And yeah, we were caught cold. But I say after that, I did feel like Bayern, because there was no doubt about it in the first half. I don't think we were overawed, and it wasn't for want of trying, because there were moments where we were trying to win the ball back, and it just felt like we had no luck at all. And you need luck. You do need luck at times at this level. We were winning the ball back and then just really sloppily giving it away instead of maybe try to just calm down a little bit and try and get a bit of a feel for it. We were actually trying, but yeah, Bayern were just getting the ball back, cycling play, and just dictating the tempo, which I felt in the stadium. The atmosphere, okay, in the run-up to the game was great. The run-up to kick-off was fantastic. In the first few minutes after the disallowed goal, it was still electric. But Bayern did something I've seen a lot of top teams do in the Champions League at Celtic Park, the ones that have came and beat us handsomely. They're very good at killing the crowd and bringing the atmosphere down a few decibels, and all they do is just pass it about and hold on to it. There's so many moments, Liam, where like Musiala and Sane were picking the ball up on the left-hand side, and they were able to run the whole way to the right-hand side of the park, just pulling people out of position, just totally unopposed. It was just dead easy for them, and the crowd are getting a bit frustrated and annoyed. But I say Celtic, it wasn't like Celtic just purposely sat back. I felt like we were still trying to get the ball back, but they were just so good at holding it. But I say once they got 2-0 up, I think in their heads they're like, well, we're 2-0 now. When we go to Munich, they'll probably score a few there as well. I felt like they eased off a little bit, and it gave us a little bit of a sniff at that point. And I say when we get the goal back, we definitely had them rattled. And I mean, there's maybe a case as well for Dyson Maeda. I thought when he went through the middle, Jesus Christ, Manuel Neuer nearly got caught out a few times. There was a couple of moments where Neuer was daydreaming, where a ball was coming back to him, he's going to kick it away, and suddenly his blind side, Dyson Maeda just appears, and he was panic-stricken. So it's like, I know hindsight's a wonderful thing and all that, and then you go, should we have started with Maeda through the middle? Could it have been different? Again, you don't know how it could have played out. Bayern might have still been able to deal with him, but I say there was moments there. There was definitely a bit of encouragement, and yeah, overall, I say it wasn't the result we wanted, but I still think we gave it a decent account ourselves. So yeah, now all we need to do is try and overturn this on Tuesday night. I believe we're playing, Liam. Do we have any chance, wise man?
Well, I mean, here's a question for the viewers on the bus then, and let's just state a yes or no. You can put up one of the what do you call it, the surveys that you get, right? So, do you start with Greg Taylor, or do you start with was it Jeff Shroom?
Definitely should.
Do you start with Kyogo in the middle?
But can I start with Kyogo in the middle? He's not here.
Oh no, sorry, not Kyogo. Because you know what, we could have used. I think if we had Kyogo the other night. That would have pressed their back line. But when Dyson did come on, I thought that was the team it should have started. So I think there's a question: is that the team it should start on through the week? In Germany, or do we go back to? Does Rodgers go back and play the same again? I don't know. I think you got to start Dyson through the middle, and again it stops them. They're not going to be running across that back line so cavalier with the ball and passing it off if they got that threat. We've seen that. And I think that's just it was just missing. The reason that they could jog across the park is because, they could probably hear Adamida breathing as he was coming towards you, because he just looked that gassed, and about there. You could hear him panting. But I think that'd be a good question just to see who. Does anybody think Greg Taylor should start on Tuesday night?
Well, we need to be more attacking. One of the things that did let Taylor down as well was the attempted passes up the line, because Maeda is obviously one of our best weapons, and he started the game out wide. So what you're relying on is who's playing out on the left side with him to try and feed balls into him. And I think it was 3 or 4 times where he tried to ping a ball up the line, and it was just right out of play. And all you're doing is giving it back to him at a time when, as I say, we were just like, every time we got on the ball, we just found a way to just give it back to them. And I say Bayern, to their credit as well, were good at getting it back, but it doesn't help when we're just passing the ball straight out of play and giving them a cheap throw-in, or say like Engels. There's a few times Engels did well to win the ball back, and then he just a rush of blood to the head. He was a bit too panic-stricken or something when his pass was just calm down a little bit. If it's a case of you've got to pass it back the way or sideways just to hold on to the ball, just to keep us on the ball. It's different against a team like Ross County or Dundee. We're playing them at home. Obviously, we want to be on the front foot, and I can understand fans getting frustrated. This is Bayern Munich. We couldn't just go gung-ho against them, but there were times when we did win the ball back during that sort of 60-minute spell we were under the cosh, where it just felt like it was all about get it forward. You just try and just attack them, and it's like, no, just calm down for a few minutes. Try and keep your head and just get yourself back into the game, get a feel for it. But yeah, we well, again, another one of those, as good as Bayern were, and they were, we can be victims of our own downfall, Liam.
I mean, as Bayern Munich, you're playing after all, but I mean, you still, I don't care who we're playing, I still want us to win. So, I mean, overall, I left disappointed. The fact that we're talking about this now, and it's, and it's an agreement across a variety of platforms, as well as, you're hoping Rodgers is picking up on all this. He wasn't an elite manager. And I think if he'd that opportunity to play Dyson down the middle, knowing just sort of the vibe he was on, right? Talk about confidence players and all that. Well, there you had a player that was firing in all confidence, whereas putting Adamida in, you don't want to take him out because you'll destroy his confidence. And so what is it? And I think elite managers, I want to see a bit more savvy. I want to see a bit more ruthlessness where like what he just says to Adamida, Dyson's my number 1 striker now, and he's done well, but, we let go of a much better striker in Giacomakis and Adamida for, similar type stuff, right? So, yeah, I would have started Dyson Maeda there, and I hope that's what we start through the week.
I think for Tuesday, if we're serious about trying to stay in this and trying to keep ourselves in the competition, then we have to be adventurous. And I think, fortune favours the brave sometimes. So it's like, look, that was giving them problems. We may as well start with that, because if we decide late on in the game to switch to Maeda through the middle after Ida, we could be 3-0 down by then, 4-0 down. What's the point? We may as well just have a go and just see what happens. If we lose, we lose. Nobody's really expecting us to win. I mean, there isn't any, media types out there that are looking at that fixture and going, yeah, Celtic are the favourites. We just might as well just throw caution to the wind, see what happens. If we lose, hey, we've been beat enough times in recent years in Europe, quite heavily, unfortunately. It'll just be another one. But yeah, you never know. We never know. So I'd say that I would favour that on Tuesday night with Maeda through the middle. Because again, he was causing them all sorts of problems. He really was. So to me, it makes logical sense. So hopefully, yeah, as you say, hopefully Brendan's picking up on that and is like, yeah, that worked. We need to have a fast start. We need to just go at them from the start, and somebody that can just hassle them. And hopefully that is what he sees there with that one. But yeah, say overall, It's in the books now. Yeah, we're still hanging in there by a thread. Obviously, a couple other stories as well. I mean, I'm not going to go too much into it unless you want to, Liam, because I think that Mark and Russell covered it really well last night. On the TNF, the last 15 minutes or so, when they spoke about the Twitter toxicity towards Liam McGrandles and all the build up to that and all the brouhaha, that was, as I say, I don't think I can add much more to it. I thought they nailed everything right on the head. Yeah, spot on with that one. But if there's anything you wish to say on that one?
No, mate, it's so far away from that over here. That's more of a, I know a lot of you guys actually know the guy, and we don't get to see that sort of stuff on Celtic TV. God forbid they produce any half-decent content that anybody would actually watch before a game that would benefit or help brand the club in an international way. Just saying. But, nothing to add.
I'd say it was all the points. I think that totally agree with. I say it's just sadly the way of social media, the way things are nowadays. Twitter is an absolute cesspit at the best of times. So yeah, it was a hard one. I was the same as Mark when I was reading all the replies initially to JP Taylor, where he confirmed that Liam was going to be playing. And before I even clicked on it, I just thought, this is going to be ugly, because I could see the number of replies already on the tweet, and it's like it was quite a lot. And I was like, this isn't going to go down well, because again, I know the consensus. I've gathered it over Twitter for the last year and a bit. I think it actually stems back to the game against Lazio last year, where I can't remember her name. Her name was like Rhiannon or something like that. She sang before the Lazio game, and we lost that night. And for some reason, there were people on Twitter that had come to the conclusion that having a singer before the game contributes to us losing. And I was like, no, we lost to Lazio that night because Carter Vickers played a suicidal pass out of defence, and Lazio just pounced on it and hit us with a sucker punch at the end. And I was like, it's not really the poor lassie's fault. But ever since then, I've felt like every time it gets announced that there's going to be a singer before the game, which 9 times out of 10 has been Liam McGrandles, there seems to be a pushback from a certain element on Twitter. But let's keep in mind, he sang before the Young Boys of Bern game, and we won that. And I believe he also sang before the Slovan Bratislava game, I want to say, this season. He did another Champions League game this season, either that or Leipzig, and we won those. So it's not always a case of, if a singer comes out with a guitar before the game and sings Grace or whatever, we're going to lose. It's like, it doesn't really kill the atmosphere. Say the other night in the stadium, I can tell you firsthand, the atmosphere was electric before the game. They got their wish. They got the half an hour of techno music. They got it. The atmosphere was great. We got the goal in the first minute. Obviously, it got disallowed, but obviously the place was jumping. And then I say Bayern Munich, seasoned professionals that they are, the well-drilled operators that they are, they killed the crowd a little bit. They brought the atmosphere down. This is a team, Bayern Munich, right? Everyone talks about Borussia Dortmund and the Yellow Wall, right? The Yellow Wall is regarded, Liam, as the best stadium in all of Europe for the best atmosphere, the Westfalen Stadium where Borussia Dortmund play. Bayern Munich tends to go there and scalp Borussia Dortmund season after season and usually win the title. So them going to a stadium like that and then coming to Celtic Park, as loud as it was, they're used to it. They have to play in atmospheres like that in Germany, and they usually win. So again, I felt they killed the crowd. They brought it down a wee bit. So to me, it didn't make a difference if Liam McGrandles was signed before the game or not. I think the atmosphere, Bayern would have found a way to sort of kill the enthusiasm of the crowd because they were that good at holding on to the ball. So I've seen it before. Won't be the last time that I see it happen in a European game, to say enough teams have got a formula of how to do it. We just need to find a way to keep, because you give the crowd something to cheer about, But I say we were trying our best, and every time that we seemed to win the ball back, Liam, we kept on giving it back to them. And another story as well coming out of the game as well. UEFA probably going to give us another slap on the wrists. However, I 100% agree with the banner that was displayed at half-time. Totally in favour with it. Very, very smart from the Green Brigade with a statement today about it, where they made it all about sport and about football. And they highlighted all the things that the Israeli government have done to, football and sports within Palestine, and the number of athletes that have been killed as well. Because, again, UEFA will argue, keep politics out of football. But we know that that's all a smokescreen at the best of times. We've talked about UEFA just the last week, I think it was, where they pick and choose their battles, Liam. They'll probably pick and choose their battles again here for whatever reason. This country that's been doing these things just seem most people just turn the blind eye to it. And it's just another one. But yeah, probably Celtic will probably cop another fine for it. It might be one of those cases the Green Brigade may do what they did before, where they'll raise the money themselves like when they had all the Palestinian flags before Hapoel Beersheva in 2016. The display, I think the Green Brigade put a statement out and say that they'll raise the money themselves and pay it, but either way, that's probably coming as well. But where's he?
You know what? Yeah, I mean, it's why Celtic, right? You see this stuff explode into pop culture. You know, I remember explaining to my pals watching Roger Waters when he was doing the Pink Floyd tour and all that. Why are they showing, oh, that's that shirt you wear? Yeah. Why? You know, and I was explaining to them, you know, why Roger Waters is acknowledging us. Why you see, yeah, you know, that sort of thing on many things that Celtic do. And I think it's part of the thing they miss when they're branding their team is that sort of rebel, that rebelliousness, you know, that doesn't have to be, you know, anything you want to label it with. It is just, you know, it's something that, you know, it's those last people who want freedom, you know, however you look at it, how you brand it. And yeah, you totally agree. So when you look at causes and, you know, even if you're not Irish heritage and that, in Glasgow and that, you're around so much of it as well, you can't help but feel an empathy towards either way, you know. So yeah, I mean, you can see how that can translate to Palestinian people and that as well. And yeah, I completely support any forms of protest that's done creatively and it's done in a way that, you know, it's there to get your attention. Oh, I'm offended, boo-hoo. You know, and so yeah, I think Green Brigade do a very, very good job of that, and the fact that they're so recognised internationally right now and as parts of pop culture, you know, things like that, just shows it. Yeah, you know what? Again, we're on the right side.
Yeah, that's it. You know, all you got to do is go on Twitter and look at all the people who are getting annoyed about it, and you're like, it's annoying all the right people because you know.
Phil, can I ask you a question? Let me just ask you a question about the pre-game, right? So, want to hear a mad conspiracy theory I just made up in the minute?
You just made it up? I'd love to hear that, mate. I'd love to hear it.
The reason I think there was probably they thought Rod Stewart was going to be the singer, that he was going to do Grace before the game because he was strutting about in the park with a microphone.
He was talking to TNT Sport
like
before the game.
Jars, right?
He did, so, yeah.
Maybe that was it. Maybe they didn't want to say anything, leave McGrath, or they had Rod Stewart hooked to do it, and then the last minute he said, "Oh, I'm getting that." I mean, allegedly. But.
Well, when I'm in the stadium, the Lodgogstein, the TNT Sport desk was right in front of us, and saw this guy walking down the sideline with a big sort of blonde bushy hair, and I sort of pointed at him and went, "Is that Rod Stewart?" from a distance? And then it was, obviously, but he came down to talk to the guys at TNT Sport before the game, and then I think he also spoke to the American coverage, which is
we got it. We
American
coverage, so we saw him on the park, and I tell you what, he was a bit loopy. He was a bit.
Yeah, I've seen the interview clips. He was a bit well oiled again. So just like the Scottish Cup draw that he did a couple of years ago, that was a riot, that one. But yeah,
I think Tory, you big Tory, didn't you deliver that time, Peter? Oh, well.
I was talking about talking to the media for the game, but I was but no, he was having a good night, shall we say? That's probably the most kindest way you can put it. He was definitely having a good night. So yeah, we'll move on though to the other stories now. So the Bayern games now in the past, but a couple other stories, a couple of transfer stories for you, Liam. Even though it is only the 14th of February, we're still way out from the summer transfer window. Okay. But it looks like we are going to make a profit, similar to the Bernabei deal. We're going to make a profit on Gustav Lagerbielke because apparently he's having a really good time playing for FC 20, I believe he's that, or he's at Alkmaar. He's at one of these Dutch teams. He's been having a good season so far, and it looks like they will stump up the cash at the end of the season, and we will at least break even and make some sort of profit. And hey, Peter Lawwell loves the P word, mate. He loves the profit. So that's music to his ears. But yeah, they're talking about it could be about 4.5 million, and I believe we paid like 3.5 million. So looks like Gustav Lagerbielke could be going down the Alessandro Bernabei route. All these flops that we've brought in recent years, and yeah, we're turning a profit on them still. And another story as well is in the January window, and it looks like this might be a summer move as well, because as we've seen in recent years, Liam, names that get linked to us seem to keep coming up every window. See, for instance, Matthias Fisgaard. I think we've just got a short list, and it's like we just go back to them because Jeffrey Schlupp had came up before, and Joe Hart, when he signed for us, was there a year before as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if this one comes up, but obviously when it looked like Visgarden wasn't going to happen, David Sterlek, I think his name's pronounced, the Slovakian striker that plays for Slovan Bratislava, who of course we battered in the Champions League, but he played at the Euros for Slovakia last season, very, very nearly beat England. So close to beating England, and then Bellingham scored in stoppage time. He was Celtic apparently submitted a 8.5 million bid late in the window because his dad has came out and confirmed that and says that the player was very disappointed it never went through. So much so that when he returned to the first team at the weekend and scored a goal, he didn't even celebrate. So I wonder if there's going to be some traction there, and will it be David Sterlek that is a striker coming in the summer? Maybe we've moved on from Matthijs Visgarden, who knows? But yeah, interesting to see these ones come. But yeah, his dad apparently came out and confirmed that there was a bid from Celtic. I get worked out like I've got it here, £7.9 million, €9.5 million, but it was that late in the window. Apparently, Slovan Bratislava didn't like the structure of the deal, so how it was going to be paid, well, not necessarily what installments it was going to be, and they rejected it. But yeah, apparently the player himself didn't even celebrate scoring a goal at the weekend, so read into that what you will, Liam.
Can we just borrow one, even the worst one of Elon Musk's guys that he's got in the Dodge, that we can just borrow, just for one weekend, go through our boardroom, go through our player negotiation and bloody fix it. Find the efficiency there, because it just shows you, like, why are we waiting so late in the window to make these deals and that? And it just seems very, very last minute, where a lot of stuff could have been done up front. And yeah, I think he's a good player and all that, but I'm not excited that, it's somebody we could have had right now. And now we've even left it. So, like, in the case of Visgarden, the better he plays, the more that price goes up. We're expecting it for going back to your Gustav Lagerbielke. Honestly, I never seen him do anything wrong when he played with us. I'm
stunned at how badly it went for him, because I didn't think he was terrible.
Yeah, no, in fact, he wasn't terrible. And it must have been something, attitude or whatever it is. But, I mean, it is concerning that you do see players that come into Celtic, especially defenders, that don't seem to get a game or don't seem to get any sort of attention whatsoever for Rodgers. I mean, I always thought Bernabe was a half-decent player. He had a mistake in him or two, but so did Greg Taylor. And I didn't see what the plus side was to him. Whereas Bernabe, you could see the plus side. So when you see that he's went and played in probably a much better league, Brazil, against, really good forwards and all that we'll probably be playing against in Champions League in 2 or 3 years. It really makes you wonder that, does New Rocky move on and becomes a player somewhere else as well? And if that happens, that has to really make you wonder. It's like, okay, well, what is our metrics for, judging defenders and all that in our squad? Because it seems like we're missing, we're missing a few here and there.
Yeah, I think Nawrocki, you mentioned there, his race is definitely run. I mean, he can't even get on the park these days. It's Dane Murray's even getting on now ahead of him. But yeah, Lagerbielke, I agree. I don't think he did that much wrong. Again, Brendan Rodgers does see him in training every day, so I guess he makes his mind up. But for what we saw, I remember the way last season started. In the first 9 games or something, him and Liam Scales pretty much had to be the centre-back pairing. And I think we went for there was a good run there that we had where we didn't even concede a goal domestically. We had just had this long run. I think we drew 0-0 with St Johnstone to start it. And then after that, we went about, 7, 8, 9 games or something domestically. We didn't even concede a goal until I think we played Motherwell at Fir Park and we beat them 2-1. But yeah, it was like Lagerbielke then was just out the team. And yeah, ever since then, he's obviously been, I mean, it was last January, he was halfway out the door to a loan deal and he had to get told to stay because Carter Vickers might be injured longer than we thought, and then turns out Carter Vickers came back quicker than we thought, and Lagerbielke just didn't really get much of a chance. But to say, apparently he's doing really well for FC20, and Holland, and it looks like that deal could be one that's going to happen in the summer. Say if it makes them a profit, then I'm sure the beaks that sit in the boardroom, they'll be delighted with that one. Now, before we get to, well, I'll just remind everybody again, if you came in a bit late, get your favourite stories in. If you celebrate Admin Day, so we talk about that in a few minutes after the next story. A few people have put some in the chat because we have to talk about the banter years. We have to. Come on, man. I mean, this is the anniversary today. 2012, so 13th anniversary of it. So 13 years. Yeah, we'll be talking about that. So yes. Anyway, before we do that, there was another story as well. Tommy Burns to be canonised, become a saint, Saint Thomas Burns. I like the sound of that, but yeah, apparently there is a campaign going on, Liam, for him to get canonised. It's currently with the Bishop of Paisley, and if it is all successful, it'll be passed on to the Vatican, where the next stage. Tommy Burns, a saint. If you're going to pick anybody in Celtic history who would fit that profile, then there's no better man. I've never, ever heard anybody, even fans from the other side, like, mates that I've got who are Rangers fans, they never have anything bad to say about Tommy Burns. Like, honestly, when he died, you've heard Ali McCoist talk about the funeral. Walter Smith and Ali McCoist carried his coffin. He was a man that, he always carried himself with great class. Again, that clip at the end of the 88 Cup final when we beat Dundee United, and that quote, it just lives forever. Again, just that line of he points to the Celtic fans, says they're there, they're always there, and God bless every one of them. But of course, right before that, he also says, before he even gets on to talking about how, amazing it is that they won the double, he gives a shout out to wee John Paul, who's up in the hospital. He's going to come out and visit on Monday morning. Then he talks about his family, and then he says, I'm just so happy to achieve it. It was Jim White that's interviewing him. He's like, I'm so happy to achieve this because, in 100 years' time, when people look back on this Celtic team that won the double, I'm so happy that my name will be associated with that. He was just delighted about all that. And then he drops that line, and God, what a moment. But yeah, just always carried himself with great dignity, great class. And it's just a shame as a manager, it just didn't happen for him. If anybody deserved it with the football we played in that era, Liam, it was Tommy that deserved it. But yeah, apparently this is a thing now. They are trying to get him canonised. So watch this space.
I think that would be absolutely brilliant, and fuck, I hope our board doesn't try and exploit it, you know what I mean? But just let it be be something that the crowd do. And I don't know, I think it's something very poetic, romantic about that just fits in perfectly with Celtic. Like the whole origins of your team and all that as well, to have somebody like that. It'd be brilliant. I mean, his family must be buzzing. Religious family. Can you think of a more higher honour, and there's very few Glasgow Saints, so the only other one I know is St Mungo. So,
yeah, no, I would say it's just obviously a campaign that's going on at the moment. So, yeah, apparently it's the Bishop of Paisley is currently with, and if whatever process it is that they follow, it would then go to the Vatican, and then we'll wait and see on that one. But I did see that doing the rounds tonight in the old Celtic news, so I was like, oh, okay, that's an interesting one that's came out of nowhere. So, so if you're going to pick somebody who would fit the bill from Celtic's history, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody more fitting than Tommy Burns. So, yeah, as he said when he said about Celtic fans, God bless everyone. And God bless Tommy Burns. That's what we all say about him, because what a man, and he's solely missed this day. Mr. Celtic, I think you could easily say as well. Definitely defines it. But yes, earlier on, I obviously announced that today is Admin Day, everybody. Happy Admin Day if you celebrate it. So yes, on this date in 2012, Valentine's Day 2012, it was building up to it, to be fair. Obviously, being in the news, it was no secret at the time, but our neighbours across the road, their misdemeanours of the past were starting to catch up with them. And yeah, there was a lot of rumours swirling around Glasgow at that point that, admin was looming, and maybe more, as it turned out, and it was more. But yeah, that season was just bonkers, because if you remember correctly, 2011-2012 season, we started it pretty badly under Lennon that season. That was the second full season in charge. We found ourselves 15 points behind in October. We then had a wild 3-each draw at Kilmarnock, where we came back for 3 down. Apparently, Neil Lennon, well, I don't know what he said at half-time, but still one of these great secrets to this day, along with what did Ali McCoist say to Neil Lennon? One of those great secrets we never find out. And obviously we came back, we got a free draw, and then for whatever reason, between that game and the game we played against Rangers at the end of December that year, Rangers had a total collapse. From 15 points in front, Celtic beat them in the New Year game to go a point in front at the top of the table, and then they continued to drop some more points, because this is the point that gets lost along the way when some Rangers fans, it wouldn't be like them to spin the truth, would it now, Liam? Let's be honest. They always say that Celtic only won that league in 2012 because they got a points deduction from going to an admin, but it's not true, because Celtic not only caught them and passed them, they extended the lead. And then by the time the points deduction hit them on February the 14th, we were already, I think, like 5 or 6 points in front at that stage. So it just put it like way beyond doubt at that stage. But I still remember where I was. It's like one of those people talk about if they witnessed the JFK assassination. Where were you when what happened when that? We saw the Twin Towers fall in 9/11. One of those types of things. I remember everything about when I found out the news that Rangers were going to admin. I was in my work, and one of my mates, who was a good Celtic fan, who worked on another team on the floor, came over. And instead of just coming straight to my desk, because there was rumours going around, he's kind of stood a wee bit away from me, just going like, come here. And I was like, what is it? So I went over and spoke to him. He went, that's official now. 10-point deduction starting immediately. And I was like, so right away, obviously I was delighted, because we just had 3 years of losing the title. I was so gutted at the way we lost the title the year before with Neil Lennon's first season, where we had that game up at Inverness and we lost it with like 2 games to go, and you've got the Neil Lennon kicking the water bottle in frustration. We lost the game, so we had 3 years on the bounce and no winning the title. But then at that point, it was just like, we're going to do it now. And here we are, 13 years later, Liam, and look at all the trophies we've won. Look at what has happened since the domino effect from that moment. As I said at the top there, try and pick your favourite moment of the banter years, because we've had plenty of them. Liam, can you even narrow it down to a favourite?
Anything involving face painters. I thought that was that one just sort of bizarre moment where I like, oh, this is mental. And it's like they owed the face painter money. And it was just like one of the things. And then you hear comedians, either Kevin Bridges or Frankie Boyle, that did a bit on it as well. And it becomes this part of popular culture now. I remember sort of mildly being interested when it happened to Juventus and stuff like that, being a big team and seeing what would happen just with players and all that, knowing you were seeing somebody get demoted for corruption. It was weird how it played out. It was wild how you've seen how protected they are in the media as well. Because if that was us, oh my God, I think it would have been the top story for 2 months. And it would be every negative spin that you had, and there was no way we were recovering, and there's no way anybody should help us, and it would have been all that sort of stuff, and we know that's what it would be like. And I thought we were quite graceful the way we all handled it. I thought we I did
Remember the Inverness game we played just before the announcement with the jelly and ice cream and Rangers? The halftime show of all halftime. Forget what happened at the Super Bowl last week and all that halftime show. No. Inverness, the Caledonian Stadium, right. Celtic played them in the Scottish Cup, February 2012. That is the greatest halftime show you'll ever see.
Aye. So I thought that was really funny, and that just, especially when you're away from home, you see that, you miss that Glasgow humour, it's just like it's silly, but it's fucking funny, and it's just like right, get it up, and all that. And it's no cruel, it's nothing, It's like it's just funny, and I loved all that part of it. But I tell you what, by the time they were gone for a while, I missed playing them. I'll admit it, I really did, because you talk about the Super Bowl. I can watch 100 Super Bowls, Stanley Cup finals, all the teams where I live and all that, being in them and all that. I don't get up for that the same way I get up for a Celtic Rangers game. And it doesn't matter what part of the league it is as well. There's an excitement to that game, and I can't watch any other sporting event with the same intensity. I watch that game because I'm hooked. At that point, it's something about when we play them, whether I'm enjoying it or no, it's emotional, and it just hooks you in. And so I did miss them for a while. Didn't miss them. I missed the idea of the spectacle when we them.
I remember the first game that we played against them after the whole demise, and it was a League Cup semi-final where they were still in the second division, I want to say at that point, maybe even the Championship, but we dusted them aside pretty easily, 2-0. So I went at that game quite nervous, like, oh, they're going to be out for blood here. This is going to be a horrible experience going to Hampden that day. And I think we were 2-0 up inside about 20 minutes. Lee Griffiths and Chris Commons scored. And it was a Ronnie Dyler season where Ronnie had a thing where we would get 2 goals ahead in most games, and then he would just kind of say, that's it, we don't need to do any more. We would just sit back and just be a bit conservative, really, in how we played. Because that day when we did go 2-0 up so early, you're like, right, I want to embarrass them. I want to see us absolutely pistol whip them here. But we saved that, of course, for when they did come back up into the league. It's hilarious how in that little spell from 2012 to 2016, Celtic should have won treble after treble after treble. It should have been every trophy should have been swept up by us. But you had Hearts won the Scottish Cup. We somehow conspired to lose a League Cup final with Kilmarnock just after administration was announced. We lost in the semi-finals of the League Cup to St Mirren. We lost a semi-final of the League Cup to Ross County. Who else beat us along the way? Obviously, First Division Rangers beat us in a semi-final. But then, of course, once again, because the banter years just don't stop, they go and beat us, they celebrate it to the high heavens, and then they go and become an answer to a pub quiz forevermore. Who ended Hibs' 114-year wait for the Scottish Cup? Rangers, because they lost to Hibs. Somehow they managed to lose to the unluckiest team in the Scottish Cup history. And then, when they did come back up, they ended up, we just decided, right, now we're going to win all these trebles. The first season back, I think we finished with 33 points in front of them in the league. We beat them 5-1 in their own stadium. As bad as Celtic were in the 90s at times, and Jesus Christ, it was grim. I don't think Rangers ever came to Celtic Park and beat us 5-1. Never put 5 goals past us in our own patch. So that happened. We beat them 5-1 at Celtic Park. We beat them 5-0 the next season to win the league. We also beat them 4-0 in a Scottish Cup game. It's just been madness after madness. I say there's stuff that's happened. Even up to last week, I say losing to Queen's Park in a Scottish Cup game, and nobody, honest to God, when I saw the draw, I went, they'll win that, no problem. Couldn't believe it. And I'm like, man, the banter years just live on. And here we are. It's anniversary, Liam. We're on it again. I saw a few. I'm going to go through some from the comments saying because guys have been getting them in. So let's have a wee look.
Any poems? Any Valentine's poems?
I think I saw 1 or 2 actually. Graham Tyrrell's going with this one. Clermont is his favourite with the banter years. Absolute roaster. Monty Motherwell beating them home and away in the playoffs in the Bill Elmosney meltdown. I cannot remember the name of the Motherwell striker. He was getting interviewed after the game, and obviously he's the one that got punched. What was his name? Was it Chris Erskine or something like that? And they asked him, "What did you say to was there?" And he says, "I just said to him, good luck in the First Division next season," and he banjoed me. He fucking weathered them. Oh man, brilliant.
He'll come out the victim in that one as well too. That was the lines and all. He completely lost the rag, chased him on, trying to kick him and hook him, and oh my God, that's
classic for Philip DeMarco. The big hoose must stay open. That guy, the big hoose must stay open, and of course, John Brown standing on the steps. Where are the title deeds, Mr. White? Where are they? Just honestly, man, this was right at the start of the banter years. We were off to a rip roaring start with that, but along the way, it's been mad. And the funny bit is, I know the bit that still gives them a wee crumb of comfort, Liam. They're like, "Oh, we stopped the 10. We stopped the 10," and it's like, have you not been paying attention to what's happened since you stopped the 10? Have you looked at what Celtic have done since then? Because again, if they want to, and we've talked about this already, if they want to play by the rules of the continuity thing and world's most successful club and 118 trophies, well, that's great if that's how you want to play it, because we've now got 119. So that now means that we, going by your rules, Rangers, are the most successful club in the world. Because, hey, don't blame us. You decided it was going to be that way, so now you must acknowledge us. So get your emulsion paint out and cover up all that stuff at Ibrox that says world's most successful club. Well, remember to pay the painter when you do it, though, because, they forget to do that from time to time. But yeah, just honestly, long live the banter years. And hey, it looks like by the end of this season, there might be a couple more trophies on Celtic's tally. So sucks to be Rangers, I guess. Then, long live the banter years. But yeah, it's admin day. Oh, there's one from my ball. Coffin being handed around the stadium. The 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse banner.
Aye,
that was excellent. And then there was a game next season where they brought just the Craig White banner. The Green Brigade had cut the banner with just the Craig White part, and he got passed around the stadium. They like basically moved it all around the stadium. Oh, it was fantastic. What a laugh.
Craig White stuff was always pure. I loved all that.
Craig White, what a guy. You know what we're talking about? We're talking about, canonising Tommy Burns. Canonise Craig White. Saint Craig White. There you go. What a man. What a hero. What a guy. What a man. But yeah, the banter years, they long live them. But yeah, anyway, now let's get on to tomorrow's game, because Liam, games are just still coming thick and fast. We're still in this mode where it's midweek, because we've got another midweek game coming up. But first and foremost, we've got Dundee United. Feels like at the moment we can't escape the Dundee teams. We've played Dundee and Dundee United about 6 times in the last 2 months because of games in hand or games getting rescheduled due to the League Cup. And then obviously Hurricane Bobag rolled through Scotland the other week, and we had a game called off with Dundee. So yeah, we're now playing Dundee United. I think this will be the last time we play any of the Dundee clubs until the split, and I think Dundee United are going to make the top 6. But yeah, we've had a run here against them. Obviously, they did take a point off us at Tannadice. We beat them at Celtic Park, so we're back to Celtic Park again tomorrow. Given how we've been at Celtic Park in the last year, first and foremost, I wouldn't expect too much trouble. But obviously, there's a few things that we're going to have to look at for the team. Bernardo is going to be injured, so I know he's kind of been a bit part player recently, but Bernardo seems to be injured for a few weeks, so that's a bit of a blow, because this is a game where you can rotate him in and it'll get him some minutes in the legs. But I think somebody who does need to get minutes in the legs is Jota. But here's the thing: a lot of people seem convinced that we're back on the Yang train again. A lot of fans, Liam, think that they're coming round to Yang. There's a player in there. I don't think so personally. I think he's had a couple of fleeting performances in the Champions League against Leipzig, and he was quite lively the other night. But to me, it's like, look, we've got Jota back, we've got Maeda, we've got Nicholas Kuhn. I would still rather have James Forrest at this rate ahead of Yang, because Yang just hasn't shown me enough. But there is people who are shouting for Yang, and Brendan did praise him today at the press conference. Is a wild Yang going to appear in the team sheet tomorrow, Liam?
You know what? I put me in one of the ones shouting. No, at the top of my lungs, but maybe in a wee assertive voice, that's it, right? But I mean, he's looked good. I thought he looked good when he came on against Bayern. I thought he looked good last week. Dundee. Yeah, I mean, it's all about the consistency, right? So, yeah, I think let him on, get him to play a part. I think we can probably, I don't know if we want to play Dies in through the middle and just keep him going and keep him, on form. I think we definitely got to play Jota. We need games time.
Yeah.
He needs game time as well. Don't know how we get anything benefit playing Greg Taylor for 90 minutes. So I'd like to see him get on. And maybe Johnson as well. By the way, I'm no Johnson's fallen off. I think he is carrying some sort of injury or that. He still doesn't look himself yet. And I thought Ralston offered a lot when he came on, when he played as well. So I think there might be a chance to get him back in the thing. And I think it's just, it's like, this is about managing player for the Bayern game. I think we should have enough to take care of them, whatever we do, So, and I think it's a chance for these guys. Just come on, just get the system going. Try and play that thing where we're pressing. Just practice a wee bit what we might try on Bayern. If we were to open it up at some point.
Yeah. See, for me tomorrow with the forward line, I still wouldn't start Yang. I would just have him on the bench. I would go with Jota, definitely. I think Nicholas Kuhn to start. I would keep Maeda a bit. I know he can run forever, that guy. He's a freak of nature. But I would still stick with either Zamora. But on Tuesday, I would still go with Maeda because, again, we need to do something different. We need to go at them. But I think he's been on a decent run recently. I think, keep him in that mode. Hopefully he can bag a couple of goals again against Dundee United. Because, he's obviously, since Kyogo's left, he's showing some decent form. Obviously, it was a thankless task at times the other night against Bayern, given when you're starved of possession of the ball.
Right.
But yeah, I would still have him in there tomorrow. But yeah, with Yang, I say he's had two decent performances, both in the Champions League, which is weird because in domestic games he seems to struggle. But yeah, he's showing quite decent. He came off against Leipzig and looked quite lively, and I say the other night he looked lively as well.
Yeah. Weird.
His
goal for Ralston is up there for goal of the season.
To take the one against
one time and put it on the deck right across the carpet into the goal. He was stopping that. I was absolutely amazed that he hit that first time, or didn't try and chest it the way we've seen Kyogo did. I mean, that showed a tremendous amount of skill and vision, and by the way, hell of a ball for Tony Ralston to see that movement as well. I wish people held Ralston to the amount of people that protect Greg Taylor, the same ones that come down a lot hard on Tony Ralston. And yeah, I don't see it. Why one is sort of held up you're being a bit harsh on Greg, and then Ralston, we need to upgrade that right away. I think he's done really well for us, and I don't see there's a big difference between him and Alistair Johnson. Well, at that level, until we see a fully fit Alistair Johnson.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean about Johnson. There has been a few games, I think particularly in Europe, there's been a few games this season where at the home games, where even though we were winning them against young boys and that, there was some slack moments at the back. But I thought, on Wednesday night, he was dead unlucky not to score with that one where he blasted it at the near post, and Manuel Neuer just had to react and throw his hands up and put it in for a corner. And right after that, Johnston was going along the byline, trying to raise the fans because they felt the momentum raising. I did think an equaliser was coming, but yeah, he seemed to be invigorated by that moment. But yeah, he was dead unlucky not to score. But again, with Dundee United, I know they're doing quite well this season, sitting fourth. They're a decent enough outfit. Jim Goodwin, I think he was unlucky with what happened at Aberdeen, but Aberdeen seemed a bit of a basket case club after what's happened this season with the way they started under Jimmy Tellin, and now they've completely fell off. So it just shows you I don't think anybody can really save Aberdeen at the best of times. But yeah, Jim Goodwin obviously got the sack there, but he's came back with United and he's doing well. So, but I think we should still have more than enough to see them off tomorrow, regardless of what we go with. So maybe when we talk about Carter Vickers and him being rotated in and out, maybe Liam Scales will come back into the team again. I don't think it's a massive drop off for domestically. I still think we should be fine in that sense. The midfield, McCown might come in now that Bernardo's not available. Maybe Hatate or Engels might sit it out just to again keep them as fresh as possible for Tuesday night. Because again, Brendan cannot go in with the attitude on Tuesday night that we're beat already. He has to still treat it that we've got a chance, and he probably will deep down still believe that we've got a chance. So yeah, he should still try and keep as much of his top players ready for Tuesday night, because stranger things have happened. I'm sure when Tuesday night comes around, I'll be quietly optimistic, and then 5 minutes in it'll just be the depths of despair. Hopefully not, but stranger things, I say, have happened. Before we go to predictions though, Liam, before we do that, I will quickly do the player from the start of the show, and he had a very, very busy CV when I brought up the graphic earlier on. It's probably the busiest one that I've done yet. But yeah, tonight's mystery player hidden behind the Boise Bus logo. It's a big one. He's played for Celtic, then he went to Dundee United, tomorrow's opponents, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Southend, Aberdeen, back to Celtic, Blackburn Rovers, Wigan Athletic, Fleetwood Town, Dundee United, and then he played for Doncaster City, not Doncaster Rovers. Yeah, Doncaster City. So yeah, Liam, quite a busy one there, but who do you think it is?
I think there's one more that you can add to that as well that I happen to know of. I think he played with St. Catherine's Flyers in the High School Hockey League in Ontario, Canada. Is that Big Chuck McGrew?
It is Big Handsome Chops himself, Big Charlie Mulgrew, mate. It is indeed.
Trapping that ball in the open. I remember seeing the highlights of that open goal thing where somebody kicked the ball up in the stage and Big Chuck pulled it down with a pair of winkle pickers on.
I like him, man. I like the cut of his jib. That's obviously, remember the interview, the clip that was doing the rounds where somebody pretended to be him and used the term cut of his jib. But I do, Jay, I think he's quite a funny guy. Whenever I hear him in interviews, I think he's got really good banter and all that. But, mate, he was such a surprise player. Because I remember when he came back to Celtic from Aberdeen, he was Neil Lennon's first full-time signing when he became the Celtic manager. Came in on a free transfer from Aberdeen after doing no bad. He was in one of these weird categories where he actually had scored at Celtic Park without actually scoring for Celtic. Because I remember him calling in a free kick against us while playing for Aberdeen the season before. And he came back, obviously, after, being a youth player and getting released and whatnot. And I remember so many people were so underwhelmed, me included. I was just kind of like just a squad player, isn't he? And I think around about the turn of the year, 2010, going into 2011, we had an injury crisis. And he ended up having to fill in at centre-back rather than his usual left-back. And it was one of these ones that, again, in the Neil Lennon tenure, doesn't get much credit, where it's like, he made something out of Charlie Mulgrew. Maybe it's just the way that Neil Lennon, just as his manager, maybe they had a similar personality. You can imagine, say Mulgrew's quite good with the banter and all that. But yeah, he turned into, like, the season in particular that I'm thinking about is the 11-12 season. Funny enough, the season that administration happened for our neighbours across the city. He was unreal that season. Absolutely unreal. I was down at Kilmarnock when we won the league. That year we beat them 6-0 in April and it won us the title. And I think he scored a brace that day and got like 3 assists for the other goals. And there was one goal in particular that he just cut in on his right foot and just bent it into the far corner along the ground. It just zipped in. And it was like, he's playing left back or centre back or whatever position he was playing. So he was a bit of a utility man at times. And what a player. What a player he was that season. They ended up winning the player of the year. But yeah, I think he was, in time, I think he'll go down as an underrated Celtic player over the years because I thought those few years he was fantastic for us. And yeah, I've got a lot of time for Charlie Mulgrew, mate.
So, see, when I said he played hockey in I think St. Catharines, Ontario. I think his family moved there for a couple of years when he was in high school. And you don't have the same football academies here. And you certainly don't have it as well because the winters are harsh as well, especially out there. And so, I think he's one of these guys you see that becomes a late developer. And by the time he came back to Celtic, you could see he developed physically when he came back to us the second time. And he just had a confidence about him. And that was probably because he was getting fanny all over the place in Glasgow at that point. He was a big, good-looking lad and plenty of power playing for Celtic. So that builds confidence, and that confidence was managed to translate that on the park.
No, he turned a lot of people around to say that came back. It's a free transfer from Aberdeen. How underwhelmed we are with something like that. But no, he became a vital player over the next few years. And because he could fit in multiple positions. I mean, his song that he used to chant for the stands mentioned how he played left back and he played centre mid, centre back. He played all sorts of positions. In fact, the game at Samaras Sunday at Ibrox, I think he was playing centre mid that day or left midfield or whatever it was because we had a massive injury crisis that day. So, yeah, he fitted in a lot of different positions and he was a pure good utility man. But yeah, one player of the year in 2012, the season that, of course, they went bust. And funny enough, there's another memory from that season. I saw it come up there because obviously he scored. Did it as Graham Tyrrell, Mulgrew diving header against the Huns. He did indeed the 3-0. He did indeed. He scored the opening goal that day. An absolute wild diving header from Chris Coleman's corner. Yeah, brilliant goal. He did score that day. So yeah, fantastic player. And yeah, he came back and did bits for us in those few years that he was there. So yeah, Charlie Mulgrew was tonight's mystery player. So before we go, quick score prediction for tomorrow, Liam. Is it going to be a handsome victory, mate? Is it going to be a bit of an edgy one? We're going to just go out there and get them. Will there be a European hangover, mate?
The hangover tomorrow, mate. I'm going to say 5. Mambo number 5 tomorrow. It's going to, 5 goals. It's my 28th wedding anniversary tomorrow as well. Me and Mrs. Punk Duck Warlord. And I've been accused of being cheap because I married her the day after so I could get half-price flowers and candy, which is not true. It just happened to fall on that, but I have benefited from it. So any of you youngins looking to get married, February 15th, half-price flowers, half-price chocolates, you look like a hero.
Oh, it's all anniversaries tonight, so enjoy that an anniversary celebration tomorrow. Hopefully there's a win for Celtic as well for you, Liam. I think we'll win as well. I keep saying 3-0. I'll always go for that. It seems like a sort of safe score. So as long as we get the 3 points first and foremost, that's all that matters. I'll say 3-0 as well. And I'll say Adamida will get the first goal. I think Ida will start, and I think he'll get a goal as well. But yeah, keep my Ida under wraps for Tuesday. Keep him as protected as possible because he may very well be the secret weapon for Tuesday. But yes, tomorrow I believe there should be a PMP tomorrow. I know the schedule's been a bit erratic recently because, yeah, Russell was at the game on Wednesday. He was at a party last Saturday, couldn't get a PMP done for Rafe. And the thing is, like, usually I fill in on PMPs, but I'll step in and host it. But if it's a home game, I go because I'm a season ticket holder. So it's really hard for me to rush back for the game, especially on Wednesday night. You know, I would have got back at like 11:30 at night, so I couldn't get it done. But I believe tomorrow, I think Russell said last night on TNF, so from the weekend onwards, we should be back to a more normal schedule. So yes, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification. You'll be notified when PMP's on the air. And yeah, we are out of here. So yeah, enjoy whatever else you get up to tonight on your, I was going to say Valentine's Day, on your administration day, whatever you get up to. Enjoy your anniversary celebrations tomorrow, Liam. Hopefully it's a nice Celtic win as well. Enjoy the game wherever you watch it, whether it's in the stadium or in Canada or wherever else you're watching it in the world. Then, yeah, hopefully another rousing Celtic victory, another 3 points towards the title would go very, very nicely. And yeah, thanks for watching the Friday Feeling, folks, and we shall catch you on the next one. See you later, guys.